I will be taking my talents to South to fight Gervonta Tank Davis.
This is a dangerous one for Jake.
He needs to do it, though.
This is a dangerous fight for Jake.
Yes, you heard that right. The massive exhibition that was supposed to be held on November 14th, 2025 is in jeopardy as both the fighters, Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, pulled out of the fight location at the last minute. According to the chairman of the Georgia State Commission, Rick Thompson, both contenders have withdrawn their request for the event permits in Atlanta. He also claimed that both fighters have been promoting a money-making scheme, tricking people by promoting something that shouldn't have been done in the first place. Rick stated, "I believe it's in the public's interest to know because they've been promoting something they should not have been. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It's a money grabber, and I'm not okay with that." Even Robert A. Centers, communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State, told USA Today that the event would not happen due to the weight discrepancy posing a potential security and health threat to both fighters. Moreover, in response to the sudden location change, Jake Paul gave a statement to ESPN saying that although it is a new city, the mission and goal remain the same, which is to beat Gervonta Tank Davis in the ring and prove himself as one of the greatest fighters alive. Jake stated, "New city, same mission, seek and destroy the Tank." Jake even took to Twitter to announce to his fans the sudden shift in the locations of the fight, keeping the world updated that the fighters had not pulled out of the fight and that it would go ahead as planned initially. Jake tweeted while linking his talk with ESPN, "Sorry, Atlanta. Miami, here we go." Additionally, while promoting the new location of the fight, Jake Paul released a short clip where he mashed an old interview of LeBron James with his, talking about how it was a tough decision to change the event's stadium. But he made it. Mimicking LeBron's interview, Jake introduced the fight location to be South Beach, Florida, just as LeBron had done all those years ago. Tweeting alongside the video, Jake said, "This is very tough, but this fall I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and fight Tank Davis at the Kaseya Center, live on Netflix globally." That was my conclusion when I woke up this morning. Furthermore, Jake Paul's main promoter, Nakisa Bedarian, came out and cleared the air about the sudden location change concerning the event. According to him, Rick Thompson has had a personal agenda against the fight as he tried to undermine and misrepresent one of the biggest events that had been set to take place in Atlanta. Nakisa claimed that this event could have brought about significant value to the state and the world of boxing as a whole. Nakisa stated to ESPN, "Unfortunately, we made the decision to withdraw the event from Georgia after several interviews conducted by Commissioner Rick Thompson, who seems to have a personal agenda." He continued by saying, "Publicly misrepresenting the facts and undermining what was said to be a massive event for Atlanta, featuring multiple world championship bouts and the launch of efforts to revitalize world-class boxing in Georgia. This event would have delivered significant value to the city, the state, and the sport." On the other hand, Terence Crawford, the king of the boxing world, claimed that this bout between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis is not a real one and questioned how a 135-pound boxer could go against and defeat a 200-pound fighter like Jake Paul. Predicting the fight, Terence Crawford claimed that there are high chances of Jake Paul knocking out his opponent with a single jab.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over with.
Moreover, Dana White, who has been dabbling in the boxing world recently, gave his 2 cents on the matchup between the two unlikely contenders, claiming that the Paul brothers need to fight people who match their size. Pointing at Logan Paul, Dana stated that he had gone against Floyd with a much bigger size than his contender, absolutely annihilating him, and Jake is doing the same by going against Gervonta Davis.
You know, I'm sure there's people out there saying, you know, that they're fake fights, they're fixed, and all this other bullshit. But I think what people mean when they talk about it is, you know, he's going to fight Gervonta Davis. It's like when you
who do you got?
You guys need to fight guys your same size. You know what I mean? When you fought Floyd, you are massive. You're a massive dude. Floyd's tiny. And I'm sure when you were training, you're like, all right, I'm going to hit this guy with a couple punches and grab him, tie him up. And he did hit you with a bomb of an overhand right one time. And you ate it. You ate that punch. And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd. But he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, you know, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. but I don't hate your brother.
Furthermore, while reacting to Dana's claims, Wade from the Wade Concept pointed out that the fight between Jake and Gervonta truly does not make any sense, since there is no possibility that Tank could throw a jab at Jake and knock him out. According to Wade, Floyd was at least able to outbox Logan, but we can't even expect that from Tank considering the weight discrepancy. All in all, this fight seems to be nothing but a money grab in a circus.
This is why the Gervonta fight makes no sense to me, because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had. But even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this gonna, where's the idea that Gervonta is even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
Even Logan Paul, Jake's brother, did not hesitate in pointing out the fact that it would be a dangerous fight for the boxer to go in, considering how skilled and talented his opponent is going to be. According to Logan, Gervonta's speed, precision, and striking abilities make him a challenge for his brother to overcome. However, considering the weight difference, Gervonta would have some issues trying to land a hard hit on Jake Paul in the ring.
The kid has got balls the size of Manhattan.
8 miles.
But Floyd, Jake's a very heavy hitter. He's much bigger than Gervonta. Gervonta's technical expertise, his speed, his precision, the fact that he's a counter striker are dangerous facts that make me think that Jake's really got to lock in for this one. On the contrary, if Gervonta feels a couple big Jake Paul shots, because getting hit by a bigger guy has significance and holds a lot of weight in boxing, and if Jake is able to connect with Gervonta, it's going to be detrimental. It'll really hurt.
I've seen Jake eat punches.
Jake can take a shot.
So if he stands in there and then gets his shot,
Jake can take a shot.
Similarly, Shakur Stevenson has his doubts about the success of this fight, claiming that it makes sense for fighters like Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather to go against each other in the ring as an exhibition, considering the legacy they've already etched in their careers. But when it comes to Jake and Gervonta, Shakur thinks it would have been better for the latter to take the rematch against Lamont Road Jr. instead.
I mean, I feel like in Floyd and Tyson's situation is different than Jake Paul and Buddy. I feel like with Floyd and Tyson, it's like, okay, y'all deserve it. Y'all legends, y'all paid homage, y'all did the most for the sport of boxing already. So you deserve a big payday and be cool. I'm cool with it. I like it. But with Jake and Buddy, I feel like Buddy is a participate in the sport of boxing right now. And he just came off a draw, his last fight. So if you're a real champion and top level guy that you say you are, which I think you are too, I think you're the truth. But if you're that guy and you just came off a draw, I think rematching will be the most competitive thing to do.
Adding to that, Shakur claimed that as a fighter with the mentality of making a name and legacy of his own, he feels as though the rematch could have been a good option for Gervonta. But at the same time, when he looks at it from the business angle, Shakur understands the logic that might have gone behind the making of the decision to fight Jake Paul, considering the money he could have lost if he had not done so.
It's two sides of me with it. Because from a competitive aspect and me being the mentality that I got, I feel as though I probably would have done a rematch. But then from a business aspect, if I would have done the rematch and I did not win the fight, the Jake Paul fight will be a lot less money and a lot less lucrative. So
You think so?
From a business aspect, I understand that anybody that with a business mind probably would have took that fight for as much money as it was. So I'm a realist. Like, I ain't gonna just bash bro for what it is. I'm gonna tell the truth.
Meanwhile, Leon Wills and Vittel from the Fight Card channel made an interesting observation about the way this fight was brought about. According to them, it had been hinted long before that there might be a Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis, even when Anthony Joshua was being considered as a possible contender to go against Jake. How cleverly Jake executed it all, probably having planned all of this a long time ago.
Press conference.
Okay.
Saying Jake Paul's gonna fight Tank at the end of the year.
Yeah.
From then.
Yeah.
So they've been cooking.
Yeah,
I don't know if the AJ thing was a genuine pivot play he was gonna make, or if this has always been the plan. I don't know, because he plays this game funny.
Yeah.
You know, he plays it different, so he can bamboozle a man, which is why he is who he is. But look at this though, man, for real.
It's a circus, but my man's the king of the circus, isn't it?
He is the king of the circus.
He is.
He runs the circus.
He runs the circus, man. You know, they even tried to laugh. Tank 5'7", he's 5'5".
It's cool. It's called Jake Circus. That's what this is called.
Speaking of interesting observations, Coach Rashaim Jefferson made a statement that no one else had the courage to say out loud. According to him, Gervonta Tank Davis has been trying to get out of the boxing world, and this fight is his way of ripping that band-aid off. Aside from the money advantages involved in boxing against Jake, Coach Rel believes that Gervonta wants to live a soft, civilian life with his family, so this fight might be a chance to achieve that dream.
It showed that Gervonta Davis is making his way out of the sport. He really don't like boxing. And I think the media is putting, he can't live a regular life, and that's what Gervonta Davis wants. He loves the money, of course, but he also want to be a regular civilian, and he can't be. Anything Gervonta Davis do is the media all over. So I think he's making his way out the sport. And like he said, he want to be there for his daughters. He got to be a softer man. In boxing, ain't no soft shit allowed. So he's making his way out of the sport.
Moreover, True Gioride, while reacting to the matchup decided between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, claimed that this fight is still a much better decision in the long run for Jake rather than going against Anthony Joshua. Most respectable names in the boxing industry are claiming Gervonta could easily take the win despite being half of Jake's size. However, the size still contributes to a major portion of the question of who would be able to dominate in the ring.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis. This is a far smarter fight for Jake Paul to take than the Anthony Joshua one. Yes, Tank has way more skill. I mean, it's just mental how much the skill gap is. But at least he's got some attributes on Tank. At least there's some things that people can give him in the... There was nothing you could give him in the AJ fight. Not a single thing. Maybe he's got a bigger head. No offense, Jake. And even still, most people who I've seen talk about this fight, who I respect, have said, Tank, you'll not get near him. He will school Jake Paul. He will finish him, and he'll make it look easy. Even when Tank is a 135-pound fighter and Jake Paul is a 200-pound fighter. The reality is Tank probably boils down to 135, and Jake Paul, in my opinion, is not a natural 200-pounder. So maybe the weight isn't quite as huge as what it looks, but it's still big.
Furthermore, Ariel Helwani raised the question of why exhibitions and freak shows where fighters go against each other with bizarre differences are celebrated in the MMA world, but are regarded as weird and uncanny in the world of boxing. He showed curiosity over why this discrepancy occurs between two sports that are almost identical to each other, yet so far apart in regulations and fan base.
Trying to think, okay, why is the reaction this as opposed to that? If this same situation gets booked for a Ryzen show where it's a guy who's 200 pounds against a guy who's 135 pounds, that's what they fight at. Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150, how much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pizzi? In MMA, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing, they don't.
In the end, as the locations change and the experts put in their predictions about the fight, the debate of whether this bout should even be taken seriously continued, as the boxing world stands divided on what to believe and expect. With most people questioning the future of boxing as a sport, another question arises: would this match revive the love of boxing in the hearts of people, or would it further diminish it? Now, let us know in the comments below which fighter you're lodging your bets against. Do you think Gervonta Tank Davis would be able to use his expertise from years of fighting in the ring against a beginner like Jake, or would the size difference overwhelm the contender? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all the recent news, and see you soon.